Hello, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I hope you like what you see, and maybe hit like and subscribe, and I would love to know what you like to stitch. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you taking the time to also press play and to hang out with me. So thank you. I'm so happy that you're here. And I'm so happy to talk about cross stitch. And we're going to jump pretty much right into it. I had this intro done and then I realized I had taken my notes off to make an extra note and I forgot to put them back. It was a really good intro too. This is a little bit more awkward, but it is the way it is. This is real life. I don't have a lot to talk about before I show you my projects. I do just want to say that majority of the trading cards, another huge round of them went out this week. The post office, they were so helpful. They were lovely because I did have some internationals in that batch and they helped. And so I'm hoping everything went out and gets there safely to you. I am seeing a few people show that they got them. It's not required you do that. It's just fun from my part sometimes to see people's excitement that they got their cards. So super excited with that. Remember that we are now in the process of the very last swap of the year, 2025. And if you go to the Flosstube Extra that I did just recently, you'll get the information about dates, info, theme, all of that good stuff. So I know I've gotten a few people that are newer that are going to participate for the first time and asked for my address. And that's so fun. I'm so thrilled to have you join us. Alrighty, so I have a pretty decent amount of projects to show you. So we're going to get started pretty quickly. I am going to start, and I have quite a few from I Spy this week, so I thought I would start with that one. I Spy, if you're new, is a game / challenge, whatever you want to call it, that I do each month. I put out there, and I just pick 10 prompts. Some are easy, some are a little bit out there. Most of the time, they have a reason why I've chosen that prompt. It might seem obscure, but there is something in the back of my mind of why it ties in with that month or whatever. And then you decide what projects you want to use for those prompts. You see if you can find them on the prompts, and you decide what your goal is. It can be the smallest goal or the biggest goal. This is supposed to be very chill and just to enjoy ourselves with our projects. And happily, I did start working on something yesterday that I'm not going to show you because it didn't get much yet. But when I filled in, I know I'm going to finish it. So I filled in and I've got my I Spy for August finished with that. But I have 6 projects, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yep, that came from this month's round of I Spy. So we're going to start with those and then we'll jump into everything else. So the first one I want to show you, it was considered my hardest project. I'm looking at the exact notes for the prompt here. Let me put this over here so I can see it better. And I mean, it could have been a number of projects. This one has for the longest time been a challenge. I've gotten through the hardest part of it, but I still figure it's a challenging project. And I forgot to pull out that, there we go, for me. And so I figured I would call this one my hardest project. It's Turkey Day from Cottage Garden Samplings. This was part of the Time for All Seasons number 11 series. It was number 11 out of the series. It's copyrighted 2021. So that's when the series must have come out. I've done a couple. I don't have all of them. I don't plan on doing all of them. That turkey is gorgeous and a beast to stitch. I'm not gonna lie. Helen D made it easy, as Helen normally does. I believe she's done with this one. She was working on it, oh gosh, was it last year? I don't remember now. Time seems to fly. I'm gonna link down Helen, which I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, are watching her. But she did, I believe she finished this one. I am still nowhere near finished, but I am plugging along. I had the hardest time with this section especially. I just have a lot of trouble reading this pattern especially. Some of Cottage Gardens are easier for me to read, some not so much. There's a bit of a grayscale to them rather than your traditional black and white. And so my eyes sometimes can't see, and they could not see this for the life of me. There's a few mistakes here and there, but that's fine. It'll, for the most part, I think it'll look okay. I completely finished this. I had to do both some of the smaller decorative and then the background. And then I did I'm going to keep doing a strand over here each time I bring it out, because I'm not going to spend all my time doing this. That's easy. I want to, do other parts of it as I go. And then I also concentrated over on this section, which is almost done. It has a little bit left right there. This is done on an 18 count buttercream from To Die For Fabrics. So he still has, these have another round of them to go, and then the legs will be easy. And then we have quite a few leaves to do. And I've done the 2 outlined ones. So the ones that I have left are all fill-in. They will take a little bit longer. There are variegated flosses called for this. Let me see. Actually, just 2. A gentle, they're both gentle arts. I chose not to use those. I am doing I'm using DMC. I chose just to make it a solid color. I think when Helen did it, she might have chosen her own flosses, variegated flosses for the leaves. I can't remember. I'm looking to see. Yeah, the top is completely done, and you can see I've started the outline of 1, but still a decent amount to go on that. I think though, I want to really tackle here. And then if that's not done, I'll just go back and forth between the leaves and that. So am I going to push for Thanksgiving? Probably not. This one will go in the scrapbook. I doubt it will. If it was to be put out, I would make it a leaner, most likely. But I don't know if I'm going to. I don't think I'm going to, actually, to be honest with you. I think it would look good in the scrapbook. So if it's done for Thanksgiving, great. If it's not done for Thanksgiving, no biggie. It'll be done by 2026. I'm going with that. All right, so this next piece, the I Spy prompt was orange. And you can see why I chose this little guy. This is Snacko Lantern. It is from Boomerang Stitches. And I'm seeing people finish this one left, right, and center too. I was able to put this one in Pattern Keeper, so it's going pretty good. And that's where I am. Oh, I really love this fabric. It is 18 count Ocean Blue from Bestitchme. Really pretty, and I can't wait to try it. Obviously, this thing's going to be about this big, so there'll be plenty of space to use it for other things as well. I am pretty much finished. I had to do some just little fiddly work on the raccoon, and then I did some of the darker colors to carry over from here, and I do believe I did a little bit of the pumpkin as well. So I did pretty good. For I Spy, I don't have a huge goal. It's about 200 stitches per project. That's what I do with the acrostics as well. I mean, I think the people that run the acrostics, both Magazine Monthly and Crafts and Books, they might throw out 200. I don't remember what the goal is that they, give you, but I don't put them in. I just do them in my book, so I don't take the before and after pictures. And so I've just kind of done 200 as the goal. It's kind of a generic goal that I try to use. And if I get more, great. And a lot of times I do. But I do try to get at least that before I put it down as finished, complete. So that's what it is. I will keep pulling this little guy out. He's so cute. Boomerang stitches, actually. Let me write them down. Aaron and Amity not Boomerang. They're Boomerang, Amity. Okay, you know this, a lot of you anyway. Amity is 1/2 of Hathaway Stitchers. Aaron and Amity. And Amity's company is Boomerang Stitches. All right, we'll get it there. My brain sometimes is working at a different road. It's on a different road than my mouth. And so I say things that are not making sense. So I think I will keep pulling this one out. I love it, love it, love it. And it's all, the blue, which was not necessarily on my radar, is a big thank you to Karen, Stitching Owl. She stitched this on, it's a lighter blue, but she threw that kind of concept out into the world and into my brain. And then it had me looking at some of my blues to see, could I do something? And this just was like completely a lightning bolt, like, oh yes, let's do it, let's try it. So Karen, you are completely the one who inspired that color, so thank you. This next piece is actually a new start. I've had this ironically, I've changed half the colors, but I had it kitted up with the original colors for the entire past year. I was planning on starting it last August, and it just never got done. You know, I mean, new things come out, and, you know, you put X number of projects to potentially start in a month, and then, you know, you kind of run out of steam, or you have enough, and whatever the case is. And so I thought, oh, I want to do it this August. And here August was kind of rumbling along, and I was not doing it. And I really like it. So this is Sampler of the Sea, and is from Carriage House Samplings. Anything beachy, you know that I love that nautical beachy kind of vibe. Now I was inspired by this fabric. I didn't use, mine looks different, but not too far. It's the same kind of color scheme. Now, when I did this, I pulled the DMC, like I said, last year, not paying attention to the colors because I hadn't started stitching it yet. When I went to do floss tosses and decide, I realized that this color here, which is kind of, I'm calling it coral. Looks like coral to me. And then they had the color of the octopus. They were very orangey, and I think so in this umbrella as well. And it wasn't really jazzing me, the color that was given as the called for. And then I wanted my Lighthouse redder, so I changed that. I changed quite a few colors in the end. I'm still working on them. I haven't gotten that far to really know everything yet. But once I have an idea, if you like what I've chosen and you want to stitch this, I will certainly put the information down. But I actually did get about 600 stitches on this one, so I'm super excited. I want to say it might have been started, like sometimes whenever I stitch on Thursdays, I don't get a lot done, and then I do some more. So this was probably started right before last video, but I wanted to get some more. And in the end, I got 600 stitches. And I'm so excited. I love how this fabric looks. Look at this. This is 18 count captivating Cossette from those missing stitches. It's my only start of the week. I don't have any finishes. So I'm super excited about this one. And I really enjoyed. If you enjoy, obviously, alphabets, it's mostly alphabet. And all the little other pieces and motifs are small. So you get a little fix of them. Oh, I know I changed the color of the anchor as well. I can't remember what it was called for. I think some of them were kind of like a grayish brown, and I wanted a little bit more gray kind of thing. I use this for I Spy because I'm calling this coral, and one of the prompts was something that stings, and I did look it up. There are coral, for some reason I thought coral might be something that would sting you, and it does. There are certain types especially that will sting if you were to touch it. So there we go. The coral is something that stings. And I'm pretty pleased. I'm more than halfway over, so it probably goes to about there. And then there's just the 4 rows, and the majority of it is alphabet. And it's a fun font, pretty easy to do, and you know, with just some different motifs. So I will probably keep this one well, they all stay out. I don't necessarily put something away for a season because I don't really care what season it is if I feel like stitching it. But I did so enjoy this one that it might just come out just because I really did have a good time stitching it. And I think I will continue. I like the colors I chose. Oh, excuse me, something in my eye. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. So you could see that one even though we're heading, I know, and I'm getting ready and pulling out my autumn and my Halloween and my this and my that, and I'm so excited for those colors, but I could easily still be doing my summer stitching in the middle of winter and be happy about it. So be prepared. All right, so my next piece here, the prompt was something in the title of a book. And let me see if I can find it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Well, we obviously have, and I went children's books, and there are multiple Cinderella, little small, like the golden books and things like that. So Cinderella is the title of a book. Now some Lina Ovas, I will not, or I'm not, you know, depending if I have planned to start or the ones I have started, stitching the entire part. I am stitching the entire part of this. I decided that the roses border it's very pretty, and it's not a humongous border, so it won't be like Mary Poppins. That's a huge border, and I wasn't sure I loved it with the entire design, so that I took out. This one though, I'm definitely pleased I kept in. Another great blue. I wish I could tell you what it is. Unfortunately, it has no tag. It's 18 count. I said this last time, I believe, when I showed it. I suspect it is from Dying for Cross Stitch, but I don't know that for a fact. It just feels like her fabrics. I am using a DMC 3325, so I'm making it, and I'm keeping just the one color, doing it monochromatically. I did work on this for the Whip Warriors Strident Sal. I think that's what we call it. That's what it's called. So basically you take a piece during those days and stitch on it. And I got just over 500 stitches on it. And I believe I did actually do the before and after picture. I hope I remember to put the after picture in. So sometimes I just do these challenges from Whip Warriors, which is a challenge group currently closed. Will open in a couple months. Sometimes I do them just in my book and by myself, but sometimes I will put them in the Facebook page as well. So this is the whole thing. I know, yes, tight borders. I didn't work on that section at all. I did, though, work a little bit on here. I will continue to kind of do a little bit of border because if I don't plug away with it, I won't want to do it. I did some on this side as well as on this side, and I brought down some of this farther down. I did a couple of letters. So a dream is and your H. I think it's your heart, right? I did that as well. And then that might have been it. That might have encompassed the 500 stitches. I did this one both for the Focus event and Strident Sal, which I really did like. So I think I might do that, kind of doubling up potentially going forward for the last 4 months of the year, or I might switch. So I've been switching every other month, this with Black Roses from Owl Forest. So Black Roses is up for the Focus event in September, which will be the first weekend in September. It starts on a Thursday, so it'd be the 4th through whatever that Monday is. And then whether or not I do it for the Strident Sal or I pull this one out for Strident, I don't know. We'll see. Kind of depends sometimes what I feel like. And Owl Forest Black Roses did get work during last week's Riff Off challenge, so I knew that it had already gotten some, and so I wanted to bring out Cinderella again. All right, next one here. The prompt was a project that's either been in timeout or just one you keep passing over. This one's not necessarily in timeout. I do find myself passing it over just because I am changing quite a few of the colors, and that's mostly because of my fabric choice. I did go something different than this. I pulled up the picture of the original Yellow Submarine. I think it's the original Yellow Submarine album covers, and I just loved, there was some fabulous blue backgrounds, and I couldn't find exactly what that one was, but it put bright blue in my head. And once you hit that domino, then that meant some of the other things don't look good on it. Now, I can show you my notes are a disaster, and I've changed it, what color, some colors, symbols are multiple times, and they're both in my notes, which is why I hesitate to give information on this because I'm not sure I'm giving the correct information on it. Let me show you. Let me pull it out. I want to highlight the very talented, if we're talking about Helen D again, Helen and I were both stitching on the beach from Stitcherovia, and she had made herself a project bag, and this looked very much like it, and she had extra fabric, and she was very generous and made one for me. So I have a special Helen D bag. So special. These are my notes. Look at how disastrous they are. And some of this is the same symbol twice. And do I tell myself that you do this one and not that one? No, I don't. And I still have some things I want to change. Like I believe I'm going to change the color of that fish. And I haven't done that yet. And I'm also not sure. I'm going to I think I do want to do this border kind of to finish it off. Otherwise, the submarine's going to just be floating in space. But I'm not sure I'm doing some of these flowers. And I did want to introduce, and I think I'm definitely introducing it in the border, some deep purple, kind of like a 550. Can I see? Yeah, so this is 550 right here, right? That there was quite a bit of that kind of deep purple and that color in this album cover that I had saved, and I wanted to put that in there too as a nod to some of the original colors. I am using a couple of variegateds, however, they're not anything called for. So, oh boy, let me fold this over a little bit more. This is one that I could have, I suppose, it's small, so you think, oh, you don't need to put it on a board, but actually I could have put it on a board. I don't think of that ahead of time, except for the really giant pieces. All right, well, there we go. That's the end of it, so that's why I was trying to get to that part. So this is where I am right now. As you can see, I mean, very vastly different color scheme, but I'm just loving the, I should have brought up the cover. It's so vibrant and colorful, and I just was so inspired by that. So one of the things I did do was finish this because I wanted to see where the end was. Plus, I just wanted to get that part done. I wasn't really, I think the word's graceful with it, but that doesn't really, smooth, the way I was stitching this. So it was kind of a hang up at the end to get it finished. So I said, okay, we're doing that first. And then I really tried to finish the submarine, and I didn't. I was able to, that section's finished. That's finished. It's off somewhere by something, and I don't know what I did. I can't figure it out. So I'll be curious as this comes down. I have a little bit in the front of this and then down here. I might have to fudge a little bit so it looks good. I have that, and then there's literally about 10 stitches of this color that needs to be done. And the submarine down here will be done. There's a little bit of fill in over there that I need to do. And like I said, then I'm gonna make some choices. I might actually do the bottom to see if there's any place down here that I want to put something, or if I like the way it is. And then we'll put the fish up there, and some of the little, again, some of the things that are just extraneous, we'll see if I want to put them in. Sometimes when things are very crowded, it stresses me out's the wrong word. It just doesn't feel right to me. If you know me, you know that in most of my life, except in the crafting room and here, I'm pretty minimalist. And so that translates to when I'm stitching things. You're going to see later on, I'm going to talk about where I'm going to take some stuff out because it feels too crowded. I think, so what I will do next time is I will try to finish the submarine, probably start this. I might do the yellow color with the purple rather than, I think it's a brown. So it'll be very similar in the end to the original. And then maybe try to throw in a purple flower somewhere as a nod to some more purple. And then just do the fish at the end. 18 count dive in from Bestitchme. Bestitchme. There we go. If you were wondering fabric-wise. And I'm really enjoying that. And I know I'm going to enjoy the final look. I'm just not enjoying this part of the process right now. And part of it's, again, my own making, because some of the issues with my notes is the submarine. So I'm pushing through just so that I can say, okay, it's done. And I don't have to worry about that abysmal part of my notes anymore. The next piece I have to show you is out of a magazine, the last I Spy piece that we have. It was a project that shows the season opposite to what you're in now. So we're currently in summer here in Delaware in the US. If you're wondering, I live in Southern Delaware. And so obviously winter would be the opposite. And I went to my Just Cross Stitch magazine, the 2024 Christmas issue. And I have going right now, Peaceful Path, which is this piece right here. It is designed by Sunny Lofstrom of Three Tiny Owls. I started this with Karen of the Stitching Owl that I talked about before. Karen has hers finished for a while. Me, not so much, but I am plugging along. I think I got to 50%, so I'm pretty happy with that, actually. Let me show you where I am. This also, I think I did this a little bit for Christmas stitching because it kind of reminds me of like a Christmas scene where, you know, Santa's ready to go fly on Christmas Eve or something like that. This was just, clearly you can see it was an 18 count scrap in my pile of scraps. So I don't know what it was. And generally full coverage, I use a white background, but I figured there's so much blue and I had this light blue. I thought this way, in case anything comes through, it'll still show blue. I thought that might work nicely. So that's where I am. I'm currently getting ready. I think that's the house right there. I closed the page of the magazine. Oh, there we go. Yes, so we have a lot of white and gray stitching for the roof coming up before I get to the house. And then we'll have a, you know, we have lots of fun, different kind of colorful trees at the bottom. It is completely full coverage, if you're wondering, but it is more of a blocky. As you can see, there's several shades of blues, but they are in a block sort of form of sites of sorts. So if you were interested in trying full coverage, something like these small ones in the magazines, and I've been noticing with Just Cross Stitch, they seem to have at least one, sometimes more than one, in each of their magazines lately. So they are a great way to try full coverage, or if you like it but you're not looking for the big giant pieces, it's a great way to kind of do it without committing yourself to something that has 50, 100, 500,000 stitches, whatever the case is. Alrighty, next piece is my full coverage that I want to show you. I didn't show it to you last week. I told you I was going to wait. I had enough to show from all the other projects. And we're putting this one away now for the month. I gave it, it wasn't the full month. I know I'm going right by it because it's not. There it is. I was flying right by it. I didn't start at the beginning of the month. I can't remember what I was concentrating on instead. But I would say by the second week, and I've been trying to do 100 stitches a day on it. And it is Minnie Watching the World Go By. It is a retired piece. It was charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artwork is by Lucy Pittaway. I believe now all of the Lucy Pittaway was retired from Heaven and Earth, and I believe now all of her work, if you want cross stitch, is through kits that you get through Bothy Threads. I'm pretty sure that's the only way you can get it, but don't quote me because I'm not in the know on that. I think that's what happened. And here I am. Oh, I got to go back. So I've got 3 of the 4 corners done, and I'm just going to work my way like that. I'm not going to worry about that 4th corner. I almost have. There are, if you were to look closely, there are some open spaces, you know, over here a little bit, especially. There's like 1 or 2 in the blues over here. But for the most part, the sky is done. And it's so cool when you look at all those clouds. I did do my best to work on some of that, and quite a bit of this was done this month. There was quite a lot of that had not been done. Yes, if you look really close, I still have some colors here to do. But I'm really, really proud of that. And then when I got tired of those blues and the purples and whatever, I would work on this area. So this has definitely gotten filled in more. There's a lot of confetti here at this part, so I'm slowly going back and forth with that. I started to bring some over this way. So I'm really, really proud of myself on this one. This is 18 count, obviously white Aida, 2 strands over 1 full cross I'm doing. So that's how I have been doing my full coverage. I know there's lots of different ways to do it. That just happens to be what I enjoy. I keep saying I'm going to try 20 and or 25 count for full coverage, and well, right now I haven't really started any new ones, and I do have a lot of 18 count, and I like it. So one day when there's a giant one, I'll try something small on 25 count first, because that would be a 1 strand if I want to do full cross, and I want to make sure I like it and I can see it and all that. So I did some math because I was thinking, where is this one? I looked in Pattern Keeper and I wrote it in my notes actually. I'm at 45.06% on this. Not quite 50%, but getting darn close. Now, as full coverages go, it's on the smaller side as a mini. Its total stitch count is 50,625. So, like I said, on the smaller side for a full coverage. I was watching, was it Jessie Marie Does Stuff? I think, did I tell you this? I might have, because I talked about Jessie, I think, last week. I'll put her Flosstube down again, though. And she was showing, it was a Rose Con piece from Pain Free Crafts. And it was like a 6-panel piece. Now you can buy the panels separately or you can do them all as one. Siska Stitches is also, let me write down Siska. I know Siska is doing the entire piece. If you do all 6 panels, I want to say it is something like 900 to 950,000 stitches. So not quite a million stitch piece, but pretty darn close. I really liked the autumn one. I was so inspired by it. Width-wise, it wasn't bad. Maybe like a 24-inch. Height, this thing was on 18 count, mind you. This thing would be something like 4 feet. And I said, oh, I do not know if I can do that. It is so beautiful, but that's okay. That's a tangent. But if you go to Rose Con at Pain Free Crafts and you look at the panel, the autumn one, if somebody can talk me into it and will stitch it with me at the same time, I'll think about it. But otherwise, I might just watch from afar and watch Siska and Jessie where you did work on it. But that got me thinking, could I, you know, what are the odds of this? How far would it take? How much would it take for me to finish it next year? I like how Mandy Parker, Mandy Stitches, link her down. I think we're due for a video, Mandy. She stitches quite a bit of full coverage. And one of the things she does is she picks a piece for the year to focus on. And she gets, I think, like one finished a year, it feels like. And she figures out how much a month she'd need to do to get it done by the end of the year. So I did my math, and I have 27,814 stitches left to do on this. Well, if you divide that by 12, that's 2,318 stitches a month. Do I want to give that much to this piece every month? Because I have a lot of projects. I plan on starting a lot more projects. And, you know, is that something, I'm going to put this down here. Is that something I want to do? I'm thinking about it. I'm evaluating it. That's getting put aside for now because I'm going to do a new full coverage for this month and then continue doing them. So I'm not sure it'll get any more work this year. And that's the thing. I have several full coverages. If I focus just on that one, do the rest of them suffer? So I may start the year and try to do like 100 stitches a day. And once I get to, say, 2,400, stop and then pick up another full coverage and see how that's working. And that would be kind of cool if I got that finished next year. I honestly have gone into these full coverage pieces thinking none of them may ever get finished at all. But for me, it's more the process and the fun of stitching. And as you slowly stitch, as you stitch, the things slowly start to come to life. I think is so cool. And if they get done, they get done. If they don't, oh well. They brought me joy. All right, next piece. This piece here has been, decide on the word you want, Laura, my whip into shape piece. So whip into shape has been a challenge that Andrew, the runner stitcher, has done. Andrew, and is, I'm just going to say, a little sneak peek, continuing to do. So go watch Andrew. He's so fun. And his project, oh, he's a beautiful finish. So now you really have to go watch him. He has been doing, as he was training for a marathon that was happening this Sunday. He's unfortunately not able to run it, but all is not lost. We have some more fun stitching to do. I finished a piece because of Whip into Shape, and then I was working on this piece. This is Samhaim in Salem by Hemlock and Rye Stitchery. It's my oldest piece now that I finished the other one. And I was working on it for every mile Andrew does, times that by 10, and I was stitching on it. And this is where I got. Obviously, it has slowed down this week because, you know, if you're going to run with the training, how it works, if you're going to run 26 miles on a day, you kind of have to start to taper off, right? So this probably got, what, a good 3 weeks worth of Whip into Shape work. And I am pleased. This is the whole piece. 18 count old library marble from Dove Stitch, and it's a fabric flare. That's where I get my fabric flare from. And this is the piece. Let me fold it like this. You don't need to see the back of the yellow house. This is the piece I was working on. I did some roof and got a bit of that in. I mean, that's just fill in now. I've gotten it to the point where I'm doing a lot of stuff that will then make fill in very easily. I've got the top windows done. So that now is just fill in. The windows are all charted to have panes on them, but with doing it on the Aida, I'd have to split, and I don't want to do that. You know, split the thing in the middle. I just like them the way they are. So I'll just fill them in without the back stitch. Then, so I finished all that, and I started to do the top. Here, let me show you the pretty, whoops. This house right here. Do you see the pretty door? So I'm starting with that. I'd like to do the door outline, so then doing the door will be easy. Then I have just the couple windows to bring the house down, and then that's the only fiddly part of these houses is the different pretty stuff. What does she have? It looks like pumpkins, and I would call those maybe marigolds, because you can get yellow marigolds in the autumn, in the fall. So I'm doing a lot of things that will then mean I can do fill-in. And I want to get this house done, then do the fence at the bottom. Now, let's talk about whip into shape. I was originally thinking, oh, if Andrew does continue, because I think he's running the New York Marathon in November, I'm just going to keep working away on this. But then I sat down and really thought about it, because I'm evaluating next month's plans, obviously, as we hit the end of the month this month. And I realized I didn't feel the same urgency to get this one finished that I did with the Christmas Town from Stitchery, which is what the first whip into shape piece was. So I did enough stitching this week to actually cover Andrew's stitch running tomorrow. I think he's slated for 2 miles tomorrow. If New York is having as nice weather as we are in Delaware, then it'll be a pleasure to run because it is very beautiful here, actually, weather-wise right now. So I actually have that done for the week, that running, not counting the marathon running. And I was thinking to myself, I don't know if I feel the urgency to continue working on that one as whip into shape. So I think as of the stitching tomorrow, I'm retiring that as my whip into shape piece, because I was thinking, wouldn't it be fun to start and do marathon to marathon, right? So we have the marathon that he had been slated to run on Sunday to the one he is going to run a couple months from now. And what if I did a new whip into shape piece and just bracketed both marathons with that piece? So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm pulling out a piece that I am feeling more compelled to get finished, even though it's not as old as this one. Will it get finished? No, probably. I don't think so. It's a paper piece, so I have no idea what percentage I'm at. But I want to give it a try, and I'd be really curious to see, as he continues to train, how far I can get with it and how close. Could I get it, if I get it almost onto a finish by November, could I get to a finish by the end of 2025? I think that would be so cool. So stay tuned next week so you can see which piece I picked up. All right, next, on the 23rd of each month, and I had to look at something in last week's video. I said my birth date wrong. I'm the 23rd of October, and I mentioned the 21st for some reason. No, that's not my birthday. No. Which is so funny. So on the 23rd of each month, I try to do something pumpkin birthday related, at least one piece. It doesn't have to be the whole day. And I am looking, this is a piece that was started in 2023. So let me see. It's probably down here somewhere. Oh, there it is. But I picked 2 different pieces that I did work on the 23rd. I pulled out Happy Halloween Pumpkin Party. This is from Jardin Prive. This is taking, I mean, look at it. It's very cool. I love it. I may not say the words pumpkin party. I was thinking of potentially adding some extra bats and things like that instead. But it's taking forever. I am stuck on this pumpkin right here. And I chugged away at it for a good chunk of time, and I'm still maybe 2/3 of the way done. Now, I did also spend time. I completely messed up here. You can see I still have to pull this out, and I still have to pull this out. This is all new. That had to be pulled out as well, but I don't know what it is with my stitching. Pulling out stitches is painful and really slow. It takes me about 5 times the amount of time to pull out, say, 100 stitches as it would to stitch 100 stitches. So I stitched some, then I said I really need to address this, did some, and I got frustrated and didn't finish it, and I went back to the pumpkin. I am using DMC. It might be DMC completely charted, and I'm liking it that way. I know I could have done the pumpkin and something else, but I didn't want to. Each of these pumpkins has a beautiful design, and I didn't want, say, the variegation, because there's a lot of design and a lot of openings, and I didn't want a variegated floss to really take away from that. This is 18 count Ice Queen from Bestitchme. In person, I think you can see the white even better than online. This, it's hard to see a little bit just because there's not much there yet. Here, it's more concentrated, so you can see it. But I'm always happy to find a gray that works with white, because, you know, sometimes you want bluish grays for winter, or like on this one I love gray with Halloween and something like the shade. And there, you know, there's generally either a white or a pale yellow moon, so you always want the color to pop. Any hope I had of getting this one done this year? No. I tried to put it in Pattern Keeper, and it didn't work. I did see somebody say somewhere on Facebook that they were able to get Jardin Prive into markup, and I do have markup, so I might try. I have a magnetic ruler because I made a working copy. So I bought the digital, I printed it out, to make a working copy. And I put it on a document holder, a metal one, and then I use a magnetic ruler. And I've been doing that, kind of working my way down so that I can see all the lines. But if I could put it in a program, I think it would go faster and a little bit easier to see the path to stitch. So I'm plugging away, but I think it's a 2026 Halloween finish, not a 2025. I thought it might be. I was hoping it would be, but I'm not going to stress myself out over it at this point, because there's other things I want to stitch on the 23rd. I don't want to be just that piece. One of the other pieces, I did pull this out again. I know I had it last week, so I won't talk about it much this week. But this is Autumn Still Life, and it is from Owl Forest Embroidery. I am not using the Owl Forest threads. I am doing partially their DMC conversion, partially my own DMC choices, and partially my own variegated floss choices. So not a lot to show you. I had this maybe halfway done. I finished that. This is a variegated floss from Stitchy Stuff Co. I talked about it last week. And then I started to, I want to get as much of the borders kind of worked out. I especially want this inner border, because then I can stitch in here or around here as well. And then slowly work on the outer border as I get some time. I'm still choosing colors for, say, the pumpkin in here and things like that. Both pumpkins, there's an orange and a green one. So I want to make some choices and maybe do those variegated, and I'll keep the sunflower. I thought about making it variegated, but I like how this one looks, and that's my own choice of a DMC. So I think I'll keep that and just make the pumpkins variegated. So that's where it looks at the moment. This is 18 count Ocean Air from Fox and Rabbit. I started it on my birthday, actually, in 2023. So not a finish this year. Maybe a 26 finish. That would be a lofty goal as I start to look at my goals as I get to the end of the year and do, you know, the whip parade at the end of the year and things like that. Again, I'm not gonna beat myself up if I get it. Great. If I don't, it's all right. There's always the year after. Okay, so this next piece here is what I worked on for Christmas, and I only did, well, I did a little bit of Peaceful Path, and then I did mostly this that day on the 24th and 25th. So I probably did Peaceful Path on the 24th, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. And partially one of these. I'm doing this twice. This is Cozy. Let me pull out I think I printed off the cover sheet. Hold on a second. Or I'm using a working copy on this one because I couldn't, for some reason I had trouble with the digital getting it into a device. So I just did it working copy. It is Cozy Christmas Cottage from Modern Folk Embroidery. And I'm doing it twice. I'm doing it in two color schemes. I'm kind of more of a modern and one that's more vintagey. I'm using the same floss. I'm using a Threadworks floss on it, Threadworks green, so it's a different color scheme. And so curious. Part of it is I love doing these color experiments so you can see how different things look on different colors and backgrounds with fabrics. It's one of my favorite things to do is play with that. So this is the opal white that I'm doing. I'm not sure if you can see the sparkle, but it is done in opal. This is 18 count, and it's just your standard white opal. And I did a good, I think each piece got about 250 stitches in it. So I kind of plugged along nicely. I have made the executive decision, 2 reasons. One, because I'm doing this twice. And so, you know, it's a lot of stitching and I want to get it finished. I am going to pull out, whoops, I'm going to take out this bottom part. The other reason is I want to make it, oh, whoops, you don't need to see that one. Oh boy, let me go back. I completely lost it. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay. I'm pulling this out because I want to make it a little bit smaller. And therefore, if I want to make them as ornaments, I can. They could be like little leaners that nestle in a little bit better because they'll be smaller. So that will take a chunk of the stitching out of it, to be honest with you. And then here is the other one. And I'll put them side by side in just a minute. This is 18 count honey from Bestitchme. And again, using the same threadworks. I am keeping them in a similar spot, but as you'll see, I don't know which one is farther. Like I said, I'm doing paper and I'm just marking it off as I go. But, oh, here comes the guy doing the weed whacking on the sidewalk. So if you can hear that, it's just background ambient noise. It feels like they always do this work on a Friday when I'm filming. So here we go. As you can see, we have 2 different looks. And they're not at exactly the same spot, but they're close. I mean, they'll get finished at the same time. If, for example, like this one looks like it might have a little bit more. If so, and I'm getting close to finish on this, I'll do some extra time on this so that I can finish them both in the same week. If I don't stitch them as one, there's no way I would do the other one. I would probably just say, project done. So that's what that looks like right there. And I'm thinking this one could be a finish by Christmas. That might be fun. So that's where that piece stands. And I did pull it out for the Christmas the Christmas stitching of the month. Now, I did notice, thinking in my head, one of my prompts for I Spy, actually for September, would work for that piece. So you may see it in September for I Spy. Okay, I have 2 more to go. I did quite a bit this month. This next piece here was a recent start. I started a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to get some more in on it because I think it's going to be a pretty quick stitch. This is called Time for Pickleball, and it is from Annabella's. You actually get this little piece too. I can't remember what that one's called, but I could see stitching that one, if I can make it bigger here, as a fun like little ornament of some sort, or a leaner or something. I stitched that for Mo and he put it in his office. I am stitching this one for Mo as well because, for those of you who may not know Mo, my husband is an avid pickleball player. Loves the sport. Tore his Achilles playing it, and his goal, he said, I have to have surgery because I want to keep playing it. So that's what happened. So that's where it stands. It's obviously, I kind of think of it as like a subway art sort of piece. I don't know if I'm using that term properly, but in my brain, that's kind of what I think of it as. It's going to be a quick stitch. It is a quick stitch. It's not very big, as I'm going to show you width-wise. I'm already the full width. So that's where I am on it. That's the width. So we're working our way down. If I had gotten a chance to get the sneakers on my little pickle here, that's probably, actually I'm probably halfway, to be honest with you. The sneakers might go with the other half. So it's probably about that tall. It's on 18 count, so obviously it makes it a little smaller. Let me come on up so you can see this guy. I did not get to his face, so I just have to do black here for his mouth and his eyes. 18 count lemon from Bestitchme. I purposely chose this color background to stitch it on because pickleball is played with kind of wiffle balls, and the ones that Mo uses to practice are yellow. So I thought how perfect to put that all together with that. And then, you know, obviously once I have the pickle done, and it was funny because I was stitching this on a Zoom with some friends, and like the hashtag never thought I'd stitch a goose, that we could hashtag never thought I'd stitch a pickle, never mind a pickle playing pickleball. So now I have another one for the books to say I've stitched a pickle. What was I going to say? Where was I going with that? Oh, once I had that done, then there's one more. There's the paddles and then a few balls here or there, but then the rest of it's words. And as you can see, those words are going to go pretty quick. It would be really fun if I could get this one finished by the end of September, because that's my anniversary. Last year was a big anniversary. It was the 25th, our 25th. And I stitched the Aston Villa piece for Mo. So I thought maybe this one would be kind of fun to stitch for him for this anniversary. And the very last piece, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that I was stitching this week, because I went out into the wild and I went to Federal Beverage in Rehoboth Beach, where she is trying to create like a community space. And I went, I had my kind of flavored tea drink and stitched, and it was Lighthouse from Cottage Garden Samplings. No, yes, Cottage Garden. This is number 8 in the Fabulous House series. I have, again, several of the houses. This is the only, no, I do have another one started. I have Santa's house started. This one's going much better than Santa's house. Let's put it that way. But there's probably about 8 or so, maybe 8 or 9 that I'd like to stitch from that series, but I'm not starting any more until one of them is finished. Odds are it's going to be this one that's finished first. I still have a slight bit more here. I think I have 2 more of these swirly cues and then this, and that will be done. So I might next time get that part done just so I have my outer border here. This is 18 count Compelling Conscious from Those Missing Stitches, and I just adore these colors on here. I believe I'm using all DMC, except the whale is charted in Cauldron from Classic Colorworks, and I was gifted that, and so I'm going to stitch the whale. The fish and parts of the seagull were also in that, but I want to do the whale specifically. Now, this is the piece I was talking about where I'm going to take out a few more things. Let me show you here. Do you see how there's this nice, lovely space here? On the stitch here, you're supposed to stitch the fish. I don't really want to. I was looking at it and I said, I like that open space. So I am not going to stitch those fish or those fish. I feel like, again, it'll be very tight between this seagull and the ship here. But I do like these 2 little ones that are swimming like by the whale's tail. I thought that might be kind of cool, because isn't it with whales where you'll see all like the little fish swimming around the whales or whatever? So I thought that would be kind of a cool nod to that. And so this will be nice and open, and then you can see the beautiful fabric, and then up here somewhere it'll be open. I did mostly Lighthouse. This entire piece had to be filled in. I had it pretty much outlined, but I had to fill all that in. I had to finish this. I did this entire section, and then I also started the whale. So this color here is a different color. It's kind of like an outline to not the whale itself, but kind of giving an outline of the whale. And I did start using the cauldron right here. So I didn't get very far. It might only be 1 strand, but I thought it would be fun to get going on the whale a little bit there. And I am kind of playing around with the variegation. I think I did do it loop start, but it's variegated enough that I can see it in person, a change in color. I don't know if it'll be something you'll be able to see, but that's how I'm going to tackle that. So this one will keep coming out because I like doing it, and it's good chunks in a lot of places. This I have to repeat, and I'm kind of dreading it because as you can see, there's a ton of different designs on here. This design is pretty easy, which you have replicated here. It's harder to see because it's small, and here, and then you'll have it again at the bottom of the Lighthouse. But I'm really pleased with my plans for how I'm going to take some things out and how the finished look will look. And I have a different one. I have the Seagull at the Shore. It was, I think it was Summer at the Shore. I don't remember what it was called. It was part of the Year and Time kind of series. And I have that one on Compelling Conscious, and I have it framed. So it'd be fun to have the two of those kind of framed. They're different sizes because this will be a square and that's a rectangle, but I think it'd be kind of fun to have them somewhere around the same place with each other. So that was my stitching for the week. I am really pleased with what I got accomplished. I finished my challenges. So if we look at August, I Spy is done. I got a little smudge here, so I'm going with it like it's an artistic kind of watercolor look. I finished the acrostic from Magazine Monthly Challenge. I worked on my focus event, my Dark 13 Halloween stitching, Pumpkin Birthday, Christmas, Stride and Sal. I got 7 pieces for the Abandoned Sal that I worked on. I finished the Crafts and Books acrostic. And then, as you can see, I haven't done the 30th, which is tomorrow. I haven't filled that in yet, even though technically I did the stitching. And then this is race day. So I'm almost done with Andrew's Whip into Shape challenge. I thought I wasn't going to be drawing any more little Andrews and the road that he runs, but now we are through November. So that I haven't done it yet for my September piece yet, but that'll be there. Categories, I got 8. I did my riff off, and then, what you didn't see, my Aston Villa stitching. So I'm following Aston Villa this season and doing kind of sports stitching with that, and I'm using Arabesque for that. Last week's game was abysmal. We didn't watch it live. In fact, we didn't watch most of it anyway because it was so bad, apparently. Mo had pickleball, I think. They lost and they got a yellow card. So literally I needed 75 stitches. I did 91. I didn't even hit 100. So I said, no, I'm not even bothering showing that to you. They are playing on Sunday. They're playing a team that they don't usually win against, so we'll see how it goes. I was really hoping to get some good progress on Arabesque, but if they're going to play this way, I'm not going to get a lot of stitching done at each. So when we have a series of bad games, it might be 2 or 3 games before you see it. If we have a really good game, then you'll see it sooner. So I will continue that because I think it'll be great for Arabesque, but I said as I was trying to plan, there's no way I'm showing you that because it is so not worth it. Plans going ahead. So September, I do have, and I did put up I Spy, the I Spy challenge for September. If you're in my Facebook group, you can find it under events. If you are not on Facebook, don't worry. You can either screenshot it here, but if you have trouble reading my writing, which you might, if you go to my community page on my YouTube channel, I have it listed. Now I had copied and pasted the top part that says August still. I have to just go in on my computer and change that to say September. But the first prompt is something you'd see at a county fair, county, state, local fair. I kind of, because I wanted to make it worldwide, whatever you kind of have, whatever you call it. That's those September prompts. So they're right there for you if you want them. Just go look for them there. So those went up. That's ready to go. And so I'm so excited with some of those. I don't know what I'm doing. One of them is a cozy project because I was thinking fall and cozy vibes and all that, which I could do my cozy cottage. So you might see that one again. The Magazine Monthly acrostic is giddy up. So that's ready to go. Now, Magazine Monthly in September, they do something called an AB Singo challenge. Now, with all respect to Robin and Carolyn, I am a completist. And so I am going to do it like last year's was. This year, I did not do Springo. It was a board designed to nobody would get a bingo because there's more squares than days in the month. And they've designed AB Singo this September to be the same as that. So it's something like it's 7 by 5, so 35 squares. Nobody will get a blackout. You could get a bingo, but you can't get a blackout. I like getting the blackouts. I'm a completist. I want to have it finished. So I made it to be a 5x5 square. I did every letter except Z, because I knew what I would have done for Z. It would have been a cheat, and I knew which project. So I said, I'm not even going to bother. And I will just, I'll put all the letters in a bag or a hat or something or other, a bowl, right? Remember how I used to do my bowls? And I will just pick a letter each day and do it that way. And I will try to do 25 different projects, and I won't know for me. So by the end of the month, it'll be a little bit more challenging because I don't want to repeat any of the projects. If I can help it, if I have to, I will. With a minimum of 100 stitches a day, and obviously it's 25, so I have a few more days in the month to finish it up. My goal is to get a blackout, so that's why I'm doing it this way. But all of the inspiration comes from Carolyn and Robin and the Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge group on Facebook. But I just like it to be complete. I like it when I see those. I left the space open for Beth for Steadfast Stitchers Crafts and Books acrostic. I hadn't seen it as of this morning, so I always do her acrostic as well. And then I'm doing my regular Focus Pumpkin Birthday Christmas Stitching Stride and Sal. I put a little area for Sampler September so I can write down any samplers I do. And then I have Spooky September, which is what I did last year. And I thought, oh, if I do any Halloween ones instead of my Dark 13, I'll just kind of keep track over the month. Then I have, for Gridiron Challenge, I am doing Clemson because that's where I went to college for my master's. And so I always like to follow them. And so I'm doing the Clemson. It's a gridiron grind is what it's called. And it was created by Kim Hollenbach, I believe. I think that's what her YouTube channel is. I can't remember. I know her Instagram is something else, and I know people say it, and I can hear them say blah, blah, blah on Instagram, and I can't think what it is at the moment. I am going to work on, for my Clemson challenge, which is Hollow from Autumn Lane Stitchery, because it's orange and purple are two of the main colors, and obviously those are Clemson's colors. They play tonight. It's a big start of the season game, so we'll see what happens. Now, oops, sorry, there I hit you. A lot of people are doing the score times 10. I decided I didn't want to do that. I kind of like how I'm doing Aston Villa, where I've got different stitch amounts by what happens in the game. Now, you could go really, I've seen some people go really elaborate with what they're doing. I kept it pretty simple because what if Clemson scores 60 points? I don't really want to necessarily stitch 600. Now, if they go wild on some of this, actually, I don't think they'd ever get to that amount. If they win, I'll do 100 stitches. If they lose, 50 stitches. However number of points they get, that's the number of stitches. So if they get 60 points, it's 60 stitches. However number of touchdowns they get, I'll multiply times 10. So if they get 2 touchdowns, that's 20 more stitches. However number of field goals they get is times 10. So 4 field goals, that's 40 stitches. And then how many sacks they get. And I'll multiply that times 5. So if they get 3 sacks, then that's 15 more stitches. So we add that up, and that's what I'll be for the week. And we'll see. Each week this will get some work. If it's a bad game and it doesn't get a lot of work, you will probably not see it. I've come to realize that. But if it does good, then we're good to go. We have categories ready to go. The letters are not been picked yet for Whip Warriors. My Aston Villa is ready to go. And then on this page, so I could put Andrew here for his Whip into Shape or the next page. I'm going to put it on the next page, I think, because here I've already slated for Jen from Jen's Fiber Web. Let me put down Jen. Is doing a September challenge where it's stitching owls. And her hashtag is, I wrote it down and I didn't get it to put in my book yet. Hashtag gonna be owl right Sal. If you go to Jen, it's all spelled out for you. And then once I start stitching for it, I'll use that hashtag and it'll be in my book too. So that is Jen's hashtag. I will work on, I know for sure I have whips of You Got This, and what's the other one? I'm trying to think. I thought this one might have an owl. I have 2 whips that have owls, so I'm going to work on those. I pulled out my pieces here, and I think I wanted to do this separately and do little pieces. And look, there's an owl. So I think I'm going to do him. And then there is an owl in the 2024 Just Cross Stitch magazine that I was going to stitch last year. So if I can find the right fabric, I might do that as well. And then I went down a rabbit hole of Etsy. So I didn't buy anything yet, but Jen, you've got me. You know what I did buy? I bought stickers. So I bought cute little owl stickers that are all going to go at the bottom of this page. So yes, Jen's got me down an owl rabbit hole. So thank you, Jen. Then on the 4th of, it's this one, the 4th of September, Mary from Mary Stitching Corner, let me write down Mary, and I are starting Sampler Holidays Halloween from Blueberry Ridge. I am using this, I believe, is Black Cherry from Stitchy Stuff Co. I don't know my fabric yet. I had 3 pieces I've pulled out, depending on what vibe I want. Actually, I'll just do them separately. I was going to try to show you them all together. We have a gray option. I really want the purple to shine, though. We have kind of a brownish option that I was inspired by the picture. Obviously, that's more yellow, but I was looking at that. And then I also pulled this one out. It's more pinky vibes. If it had a bit more purple vibes, I think it would be kind of cool. I'm going to look to see if I have any that have very subtle purple vibes, because that's a deep purple. So I'm still considering. I don't have that, but I have less than a week, because it's next Thursday. I want to start that. You might see it next week if I get a good amount done on it, but if I don't, you'll see it the week after. Then on the 2 weeks later, whatever, so 4 plus, I think it's the 18th, Mary and I are going to start Blackbird Sampler, and this is from Pansy Patch, and I'm going to use, I'm almost sure I'm going to use this Threadworks. I was looking at Threadworks colors on Etsy, and there's one other one I want to buy and see in person. So that's going to be started in 2 weeks. I did pull this out because I thought I wanted to get this started at some point. This is called There Is Room, and is by The Proper Stitcher. But I really want it to make an impact. So I want to choose fabric and floss thoughtfully. And then I also wanted to start, you know what? I'm going to show it to you on my iPad because I don't want to show you. It's from the Halloween magazine this year. I love this little guy. He's called Beware. Who's it by? It is by Milo Mini by Xenia. And I'm not going to do the word beware. I just want to do the B. And I do want to do it on like a fun gray. I did change one of the yellows, the lighter yellow, because I was pulling out floss. So I think he'd be a really quick start and finish for the month. I also have to figure out what I want to do for the artist trading card and anything else that comes out or thinks about or whatever. But I think those are good enough plans for now. Lots of different ideas and plans in the works. So we'll see what happens with that. If you're joining in on any of this stuff, let me know. It's always so much fun when we do it together. Gonna be our right sale, gridiron grind, monthly challenges, and yes, the 4th and the 18th start. Okay, looking at my notes, I got it all. Shopping, I only have one thing to show you. I did get my fabric of the month from Bestitchme, so if you do not want to see, look away. I'm not even going to say the name because it'll give it away. And if I'm telling you to look away, if I tell you the name and the color, then it kind of spoils the surprise. So you're not looking. That's what it's called. So you know it's going to be some sort of color like that. And isn't that pretty? That's really pretty. So, all right, I put it down. I have no idea what I'd use that for yet, but these are the type of fabrics that when they're in your stash, you'll know, right? When you've got something and you say, that's just the perfect color for that. And I think that's it. Everything left is just life stuff. So if that's all you want to be here for, then thank you so much. It was great talking to you, and I will see you next time. Life stuff is pretty quiet. As you know, my younger child, they graduated college this past year and have been in the process of looking for a job. And, you know, it's been a long, kind of tough process, some disappointments, going with other people kind of thing, and some good interviews, some not so good interviews. It's all a learning process, but we are happy to say that they have a job, and they have a job, and an apartment has come through. So a couple weeks from now, we will be helping them move, and they can start that next exciting, scary, different part of their life as they move on into the world with their first job and all that entails. So there's been a lot of that kind of going on in the background, and you know, now we're talking about, okay, what do you need, you know, the basics you need for your apartment, and then they, you know, you pick up things as you go. You don't want to, you want to live in it and see what else you need, kind of thing. But you know, so you have to start looking at that and figuring out how we're moving things and all of that, and figuring out the scheme. But so that's going on in the background. This is a holiday weekend this weekend, so Mo has Monday off, but I think it's going to be really chill. He was very busy at work this week, kind of stressed a bit in some ways, plus all of this other kind of apartment stuff going on. And in fact, the apartment was looked at this week. Mo had to take a day off, drive up there. They're staying within a couple of hours of us, but it'll be about a couple hours away with traffic. But liked the apartment, then, you know, applied right away to try to get it. And so all of that has been happening this week. So there's a lot been going on. So we're going to just kind of chill. It's supposed to be a beautiful weather weekend this weekend in Delaware, in the 70s, sunny. We will go to the beach with our bowls on Sunday morning and just kind of relax and chill. And it should be a very nice time. I do have a book and I have TV for you. So I did read, this is for, I have a mystery book club here in my neighborhood community. And sometimes I read them, sometimes I forget, or I don't get to it, or I just can't get into it. But I did read this one. It's a very short book, so it was a quick read. It is The Golden Spoon by Tessa Maxwell. I've not read anything. I don't know if this is her first book or if she has other things. I've not read anything from her before. It's a mystery. It's a very short book. It's about 276 pages. So it was a pretty quick read. Envision the British Bake Off here in I think it's Vermont, in a kind of castle setting, and there's a tent. And the book starts off with, there is a murder. We don't know who's murdered, and we don't know any of the details. We just see that there's a murder happens. Then we go back in time. The baking show is 6 contestants are brought to this castle. They stay there and they bake each day, and at the end of each day somebody goes home, kind of thing, until the week ends and they have a winner. And so along the way we have intrigue with the different contestants and the host, actually 2 hosts, right? Yes, 2 hosts. Not everybody is as they say they are, kind of thing. You have a little bit of baking thrown in there. You have a little bit of maybe sabotage thrown in there, and so on and so forth. Was it the best book I've ever read? No, but it was enjoyable. It was a very quick read, and I've watched British Bake Off, so you know that nod to that was kind of fun as well. I would, if you want a kind of a quicker read mystery, it fits the bill. It is done, each chapter is at the a different character in the book. It's through their, their eyes and their words. So just each chapter, once you know who the characters are. In the very beginning, it's a little confusing. I kept going back to read like there'd be like little dossiers on each of the contestants, things like that. I had to keep going back a few times just to see, okay, who is this that's talking? But then once I knew who the characters were, I didn't have to keep doing that. But that way you know whose perspective you're kind of looking through for each, and they're short chapters as they do this. So I would say if you want kind of a quick read, an easy read of a mystery, this is the book. I don't think language-wise, I don't think there was any, if there was any bad language, it was very minimal. It's a rated G sort of, it's not anything. There's some maybe kind of closed door mentions, but that's about it. So that's the book I read. TV, I have, I'm super excited. Thursday Murder Club has come to, I think it's Netflix, so I have to watch that. I haven't watched it yet. I think it came out yesterday, so I'm super excited to watch that movie. I hope it's as good as I enjoyed the books to be. And then I was on Acorn, and I went to things that Leaving Soon, because I was curious, am I going to miss anything? And it's a 2-episode, I'm going to call it a mini series. I don't know what else to call it. Each episode is an hour and a half. So it's basically like watching a 3-hour movie. It's called Restless, and it stars Michelle Dockery, who is Lady Mary. Now, it's a 2012, so some of the characters of some of the shows I know them from I don't know when, I can't remember when Downton encompasses and all this, but Michelle Dockery, who's Lady Mary from Downton Abbey. Rufus Sewell, I think is how you say his name. He is the husband on The Diplomat. I kept for ages, I couldn't figure out who it was. It's like, I know this face, but he's much younger in Restless than he is in, and then there was somebody else that I recognized the name and the face of as well. So quite a few people I recognized. The quick premise is that the movie takes place in, I'm going to call it, I'll say miniseries. The miniseries takes place in 2 different times. Present time is the late 1970s, and then you also see from 1939 to about 1941-ish, right around there. And so it starts off, Michelle Dockery's character, she's the daughter, and her mother is very upset, thinking somebody is after her. And she starts to slowly reveal that and nobody knew about her, but when she was younger, she was from Russia, and she was a spy for Britain during early World War. We assume, actually, I don't know if it's throughout the entire World War II, but certainly during the early times of World War II. And it goes back and forth between present day and what threat there might be to her. And she's slowly explaining the story to her daughter. And then you see it happening and going back and forth between the 2 time periods. And I thought it was very well done. I enjoyed it. So if you have Acorn and you like that kind of show, I would say watch it sooner rather than later, because it says leaving soon. I don't know what that means, whether it means the end of August or I don't know. So they don't give a date, they just say when. But that would be my recommendation if you want a kind of fun. It was fun, I don't know. It was good. It was done well, and I would recommend it. Okay. And that's it. We're starting to get to the long periods of the video. I always say I'm going to make them shorter, and then I just keep talking to you, my friends. So we get to the end of the video where I, as always, tell you that I'm so happy you're here, but I also want to remind you that you matter and you are important. Please don't ever forget that. I know life and people and circumstances can sometimes cause us to not believe it, or to question it, or to devalue our worth. But please do remember that you are super, super important, and you do matter just as you are. All right, until next time, happy stitching.